Welcome in to I Remember My First Time.
Yes, this is a good one. It's a Valentine's Day episode.
Oh, don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
God damn it.
It is a Valentine's episode, though.
Okay.
This is a podcast about cinematic awakenings,
Okay, I like the sound of that for the Valentine's Day episode.
where we talk about the movies we love with someone, or in this case, two people who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Popping your cherry on Valentine's Day is fucking incredible. Awesome.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
We love shitty movies. Sometimes even more than good movies.
Are we critics?
Absolutely not.
But do we love movies?
Oh, we do love the shit out of movies. In this week's masterpiece, it's included as number 92 on American Film Institute 2001's list of top 100 most heart-pounding American movies. It's included in the 1001 movies you must see before you die, and also American Film Institute's 2002 list of top 100 America's greatest love stories movies. And spoiler alert, it's not fucking one of those.
It is every one of those.
Incorrect.
They are correct on all parts. Heart-pounding, must see before you die, and, well, it's not romantic. I'm going to be honest with you.
It says greatest love stories.
It's not a love story.
But you said it was all three.
It's two of the three.
It's none of the three.
It's good enough to be up with the love stories. It's just not a love story.
None of the three. The 1981, and I do have to say classic. It is a classic as much as I don't fucking want it to be. William Hurt, Kathleen Turner, erotic thriller, Body Heat.
Jacob, your dick's going to lead you into a big hassle.
BJ, you look about 7 or 8 inches long, shiny, and very, very bald.
That is not true. Is this the first time you've seen one angry? Oh, I am BJ Leica, and I too love to smoke a cigarette after a good run.
Joined as always by me, Jacob Beekis, and I am proud to announce oral genital contact is legal in this state.
So with that line, does that mean very close to 1981, it was not legal in the state of Florida?
Uh-huh.
What?
That is what that means. I think there's 18 states I looked up that oral sex is illegal in.
You've broken the law in any of them?
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, I can't remember, but Oregon for sure.
So I have a Rotten Tomatoes review, because this is the review I sent you to convince you to watch this movie.
This review is incredible. If the movie was like this review, it would have been fucking incredible.
Shyster lawyer Ned Racine, William Hurt, begins a passionate affair with Maddie Walker, Kathleen Turner, wife of a wealthy Florida businessman, Richard Crenna. With the help of one of his criminal clients, bomb maker Teddy Lewis, played by Mickey Rourke, Ned hatches a scheme to kill Maddie's husband so that they can run away together with all of his money. But complications build upon double crosses, launching the hapless lawyer into a situation far more treacherous than he imagined.
Your intense, scary voice is honestly kind of lame.
That might have been too long a review to try a voice.
I think that might be what it was. I think it went to
Body Heat is 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 77% Metacritic score.
Fuck everyone. This movie sucked asshole. Our second episode on this podcast was Basic Instinct. It was my first erotic thriller, and we were going to do a rom-com for Valentine's Day. And you're like, how about we do this? And I was so fucking down. Basic Instinct is so fucking good. And this was hot garbage.
I have no regrets.
Hot garbage.
No regrets. This movie's incredible.
Hot garbage.
So, do you think Roger Ebert agrees with you?
Based on his review of Basic Instinct, no. I think he likes this movie.
Roger Ebert gave this movie 4 out of 4 stars.
Fuck him too. Fuck both of y'all. Before you go on with what Roger has to say, because obviously it's going to be good, I have some Roger trivia for you. This movie is included on Roger Ebert's 10 best list for 1981. It's also
it's probably one of the 10 best movies of that year.
It's also included on the Roger Ebert's great movies list. Not just of 1981.
Yeah, this is a classic movie that
great movies
that everybody should see.
Fuck
it is
you.
a wonderful film.
It is not. Continue.
Roger Ebert says, like a tantalizing mirage, film noir haunts modern filmmakers. Noir is the genre of night, guilt, violence, and illicit passion, and no genre is more seductive. But the best noirs were made in the 1940s and 50s, before directors consciously knew what they were doing. If a bad modern noir can play like a parody, good noir still has the power to seduce. Yes, Lawrence Kasdan's Body Heat is aware of the films that inspire it, but it has a power that transcends its source. It exploits the personal style of its stars to insituate itself. And he is correct.
He bored me as much as the movie did. I checked the time on that movie 4 different fucking times.
I have to mention
more.
I have to mention just what he says about William Hurt. Tall, already balding, indolently handsome man with a certain lazy arrogance to his speech, as if amused by his own intelligence. Body Heat is a movie about a woman who gets a man to commit murder for her.
Yep. Out of what we've talked about so far, what I haven't said is I did enjoy William Hurt's character in this movie.
Oh, we are a pro-premature balding podcast.
Oh, for sure, but I just enjoyed his character, though, just in general, without that. And I thought for a small mustache, it was a great mustache.
It was a great mustache.
Which is hard to do with a small mustache.
It's hard to do for blondes, too.
It is. And honestly, his mustache probably isn't that small if given a darker color.
Good. That's possible. Plus, he has a really long face.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes it seem a little smaller as well.
I mean, he was the most attractive star in this movie.
Okay.
Sorry. Kathleen Turner is very pretty. But
incredibly pretty.
She's not a Stone Cold Fox.
Okay.
In fact, I think we had this discussion already. I don't think she moves the teacher off of the Mount Rushmore. For me.
All right. Miss Naris is still on the Rushmore for Jacob.
But she's off for you. Kathleen Turner's...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Kathleen Turner is exuding sexuality in this movie.
100% she is. She didn't do it for me.
Wait, are we doing sexy characters or hot characters?
I guess it has to be a combination of both.
Okay.
Because they are erotic.
We're lumping it all in one. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how'd it do in the box office, Jacob?
It did fucking great.
Of course, because it's a great film.
Whatever. It's the 33rd highest grossing film in the U.S. in 1981, with box office at $24 million on a $9 million budget.
Today, that is
a $24 million budget and $77 million in the box office.
Okay.
So, did extremely well. I'm surprised it's just the 31st most successful movie in 1981. Like, what was coming out in 1981? We did not look this up.
So, yeah, that gets hard for me because Empire Strikes Back is around that time.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the original Evil Dead. Escape from New York with Kurt Russell.
Oh, man. When's the Escape from New York podcast?
As soon as it's streaming. Possession. Excalibur. That's actually a pretty good movie. An American Werewolf in London. Body Heat. Duh. Heavy Metal. Porky's.
Okay, so there was some good movies being produced in 81.
The Road Warrior. Stripes, which is a one we've done on this pod. Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans.
Oh, we get it.
I can keep going.
So, what did you think of this incredible top 1001 movies you must see before you die film?
I thought this movie was garbage, straight up. I wanted to like it because you told me that you rated this an 8.7. And the entire time I'm watching it, I'm sitting here watching it, and I watched it late. I worked up 2 15-hour doubles on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, I worked in the morning and waited for Nima to get home at night and had to be at work at 6:30 this morning, so it was late too. So I was like, cool, BJ gave this an 8.7. It's basically 9 out of 10 movie. This is going to rock my fucking socks off. And it fucking sucked. The whole time, I'm just like, something's going to happen. Something's going to make this an 8.7.
Well, it knocked my socks off. I was on the edge of my seat, whether it was from concealing a boner or just the sheer intrigue of the movie.
I didn't even like the sex scenes. They weren't even good.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
No.
They were pretty good.
No. The sex scene, the one sex scene in Desperado is better than the 3 sex scenes in this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So it's not good.
Your bar for good is it has to be better than the sex scene in Desperado?
No, but they had 3 and it's erotic thriller. Desperado's not an erotic thriller. Desperado's a dude walking around with a guitar case shooting the fuck out of people. They weren't even trying to go with the sex aspect. That's part of this movie.
Well, this movie is sleek. It is sexy. It looks good. Kasdan does really interesting things with the camera work. It's a fucking classic, and everyone should see it.
So, things I liked about this movie, because I did like some things. Ted Danson is the fucking bomb.
Ted Danson's clearly a star.
Every time he was on screen, this movie was the best it possibly could be. I already said I enjoyed William Hurt's character, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I did like Kathleen Turner, don't get me wrong. She played the part. I didn't buy the chemistry between them either. But
I felt like
I enjoyed William Hurt's character separately. I enjoyed Kathleen Turner's character separately, and Ted Danson, and that's pretty much it. And of course, Mickey Rourke.
So I generally think that actors are professional and they're doing their job and don't fall for each other. I watched this movie and I was like, William Hurt wants to bang Kathleen Turner in real life so fucking bad, it's not funny.
I would say that I'd have to watch this movie again to see that, but I never will.
So this movie is shot really, really cool. It's got cool colors. It's hot. It's sweaty. You really get that feel for the whole movie.
So it being hot and sweaty, they were actually filming it in the winter and it was cold.
I'm sure.
And they had to pretend everything was hot and sweaty. Love that. Keep going.
The score is amazing in this movie.
The score is pretty
good. It is an
good.
incredible score. I thought the acting was great. I thought Turner and Hurt both had incredible chemistry. And like I said, Ted Danson's clearly a star.
Yeah. What I did.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
This movie gets Florida right. Florida is a sleazy shithole. And this movie nails Florida.
Yeah. There are 3 or 4 states that you can openly mock and make fun of, and Florida right at the top of that list.
And they did it in this movie, whether it was intentional or not.
Yeah.
I love how they were pretty much making fun of Florida.
I describe Florida as it's straight up the Wild West.
It's not, Miami is not Florida, by the way. That's its own separate thing. I want to make that clear.
Neither is Disney World or Universal.
Oh, Disney World's a fucking train wreck. But I just loved that they were like, I felt like they were intentionally making fun of Florida, and I appreciate that.
I did too. So things I didn't like about this movie.
Oh, hey, hang on. I'll go first. You can end with a bang.
Okay.
So the first thing I have to say, it's 2023. A sex symbol has got to have an ass better than Kathleen Turner.
Yep. Maybe that's the reason I think William Hurt's the most attractive person in this movie. Because she's basically a 2x4.
From the backside, yes.
Yeah.
From the front side, no.
No, she had a big cup size, but yeah, I mean, they were boobs and they looked good. Like, I'm not complaining about her boobs.
And the other thing, more Mickey Rourke, please.
Yeah.
Not enough Mickey Rourke.
No. Give me more Mickey Rourke all the time.
That's it. That's all I didn't like.
I didn't like everything. I thought the writing sucked. I thought the pacing wasn't that bad. I was just bored the whole time. And
I mean, the movie's essentially cut up into 4 acts, right?
Yeah.
You have the tease act,
yep,
the fucking act, the commit the murder act, and the double cross act.
Yeah.
That's essentially how it's paced.
Yeah, and I was just bored. Like, it wasn't for me.
So, do you not realize that all these erotic thrillers are basically the movie version of the shitty books you buy at airports?
I mean, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm sure books do it better.
Oh, yeah. But that's what they are. That's what the plot of all these are, is shitty airport books.
What's your shitty airport book you're reading right now? I'm just kidding. I know them. He reads Jack Reacher's shitty airport books. Yeah, Jack Reacher's my shitty airport book. But I did just... I don't think I finished it yet. I got like 20 more pages of my first Agatha Christie book. Gross. Murder mysteries, baby. I wasn't a big fan of the score either. I don't know why. Really? It just didn't do it for me. But I wasn't into the movie. Okay. I think that has a lot to do with it sometimes. I mean, you were into Quigley and you shit on that score. And that's one of the greatest movie scores of all fucking time. Except it's not. It's just awful. Fucking is. Was it a good or bad movie? It was a great movie. Shut the fuck up. It's a bad movie. Garbage. Great. Garbage. 1001 movies you must see before you die. Just skip it. If you have HBO, there's so many better movies. Skip it. I'd rather watch that trash movie Godzilla again. Absolutely not. Ugh. All right, Mount Rushmore scenes, and if nobody knows this yet, we're both virgins to this movie. That's right. We both popped our cherry. Mm-hmm. We were gonna do a rom-com, and it is V-Day, but we hadn't done an erotic thriller since Basic Instinct. Yeah, we got to do erotic thrillers. Yeah, this Mount Rushmore, I'm spoiler alert now. It's not as good as the Mount Rushmore Basic Instinct, but that's okay. The top scene in this movie is not near as good as the top scene in Basic Instinct. That's a fact. But anyway, second or the third. This is kind of a true Rushmore for me. Okay. Where they're all kind of in the same range. Okay. I struggled picking 2 scenes that I really liked that had no business being as intense as they were. Was the dinner scene with Richard Crenna and William Hurt. But I'm going to go with the courthouse scene when they called William Hurt in for the redone will. At this point, I still thought Kathleen Turner was just a dumb bitch. This is that I think is what puts it ahead. This is where you're like, oh, she just fucked this up hard. Yeah. And I felt that in the phone call. Like it was well acted, it was well delivered, like all the emotion and everything on William Hurt's face. I'm just like, oh, they're fucked. This is a great example of how you do an exposition dump with still having an extremely intense scene. Agreed. I really enjoyed it. And Ted Danson's in it too. So this didn't crack my top 4, but it was a good scene. Oh my God, Ted Danson's in this scene. The best line of the entire movie, and there were some fucking bangers. This movie had one-liners. I didn't mention that and things I liked about this movie, but this movie had some fucking bangers.
It had some zingers.
But the best one was in this movie after the lawyer was like, do you mind if I smoke? And then everybody lit one up, and someone tried to give Ted Danson one. He's like, no, I don't need my own. I'll just breathe in the room. Or whatever he said. I was like...
Because it was 1981 Florida. You just walked around in secondhand smoke.
1981 anywhere in the U.S. I mean, I was born in 92, and I remember going to restaurants in East Texas where they had a smoking section and a non-smoking section. It doesn't fucking matter. It's cigarette smoke. Like, fuck.
Your fourth favorite?
My fourth favorite scene is none other than the killing of the husband, Richard Crenna. I actually didn't know that's when they were going to do it. It surprised me.
It was very early in the movie.
It was early in the movie, and it surprised me, like I said, like, she fucked Richard Crenna, and she fucked him good. Like, Richard Crenna didn't know what to do. He was like, I hadn't had sex this good in a long time. The way Lawrence Kasdan shot what William Hurt was doing in this scene, I didn't think he was going there. I thought he was doing something else entirely. So when she popped over the stairs and said he's got a gun and he popped out of the closet, I was like, oh my God, this is happening now.
Yep.
It was a great scene. I love the fog driving because this was my most tense scene. Because I'm just like, the body's in the back of the car. He's dead. You're going to get knocked the fuck out by some car in the fog.
I mean, I can see that. But this movie, to me, stays intense the whole way. But yeah, that's a really good of when you don't have a car chase for the intensity, how you still make it interesting.
Yeah.
Just simply by throwing in the X factor of fog.
Yeah. And I end this scene after they blow up the building with Richard Crenna in it, and they're both in the car at the same time. They just murdered someone together. Like, you still think Kathleen Turner is distraught, like, oh my God, we just killed somebody. And all this motherfucker can say is, we won't talk for a long time. Like, what the fuck? I thought that was so funny. I laughed out loud.
Okay. All right.
We won't talk for a long time, and then gets out of the car and just leaves.
So while we're here, I'm going to ask you this question. Were you curious on if Richard Crenna was that bad of a person?
No.
You just were like, okay, he is, or you didn't care?
A combination of both, because, I mean, even Ted Danson, and I can't remember if his cop buddy felt the same way, but Ted Danson, being the local prosecutor, was like, that dude was a piece of trash. I was like, sure. Like, typically prosecutors know who a piece of trash is in the city that they're prosecuting in.
Yeah, and they're not just calling everybody that.
No,
right? Okay.
That's someone they want to get evidence on.
Because that was kind of a show me he's a bad guy, don't tell me kind of thing for me, but I was curious on your thought.
Yeah, no, I was fine with it. Your third favorite scene?
My third favorite scene is the ending scene, starting with Mickey Rourke talking to William Hurt in the interrogation room.
This missed my Mount Rushmore just barely.
That's where it starts.
I had to pick this one or Killing the Husband.
Yeah, that's where it starts, because Mickey Rourke's really good.
He's so good in that jail scene.
Of course he's good in it.
Yeah, and just straight up like, I'll take care of that. And he's just like, I got another lawyer. Like,
it's like, I know you're a shitty lawyer.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Not only are you a shitty lawyer, but you're in some shit right now.
Right.
So,
do you think he chose the other lawyer because he knew he was in some shit, or because he was a shitty lawyer?
Yes, because shitty lawyers are better at breaking the rules and doing what they need to do for their clients. At least portrayed that way in TV, in movies. So I think he did it because he knew he was in some shit.
And the intensity of him going, and the boathouse door is rigged. We all know it's rigged.
I mean, you after that scene, you're waiting to find out which door is rigged.
Exactly.
And once she calls, you're just like, all right, it's the boathouse.
Right. But it was still incredibly intense, and him going out to it, and him just waiting for her.
Even the way they shot the movie, like, I was just upset by the pacing. Like, I was bored, but the way they shot everything and the way everybody acted, you thought for maybe a second that maybe it wasn't rigged. Like, you were just hoping, because they fucked the whole movie. They were it. And then he looks through the window and he's just like, damn it.
You're turning around on this movie, aren't you?
I'm not.
But that's great. Him waiting for Kathleen Turner, and when she shows up, for him to just be like, nah, fuck you, bitch. You go open it.
Yeah.
And when she went and did it, I was shocked that she went and did. Like, I knew she survived, but I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
I just love this whole kind of last scene to wrap up the movie.
The last scene was good. My number 3 scene is the first time we meet Mickey Rourke.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't want to lie, steal, and cheat 2 times in my Mount Rushmore and pick both Mickey Rourke scenes because my Eddie Guerrero scene is my number 1 scene.
All right.
So his bed was so cool. Like, he had a cool fucking bed. I thought that was the coolest thing about his crib.
Young Mickey Rourke was a fox, man.
Yeah. He does not look like that now.
No.
But this scene was just really cool. Mickey Rourke nails the 3 minutes he's in this scene.
Should have been in it more. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. All right, you're number 2.
Number 2, this is a tiny cheat. For this podcast, it might not even be a cheat. It is Ted Danson in the diner after the interview with the girl that saw the 7 to 8 inches, very bald, very shiny. It was the first time she saw one angry. That scene and the scene where Ted Danson is waiting for William Hurt on the pier.
Okay.
I couldn't help but laughing at smoking a cigarette after a run. I think it happened 2 or 3 times.
It did, but that was by far the funniest time.
Man, it is so obvious Ted Danson's a star.
So
in the scene on the pier.
One thing that probably my favorite just moment in the movie. Actually, never mind. I'll get there.
Dancing on the pier?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like, it is. That's one of my favorite moments. I laughed out loud. Like, Ted Danson dancing on the pier was great.
Ted Danson kind of playing like modern day Jeff Goldblum.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And how attractive as a human being do you have to be to make those glasses look good on your face?
Either Ted Danson or Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, fair. My number 2 scene is the first time William Hurt meets Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, at the fairground or whatever it is. I don't know.
I call it meeting on the beach.
Sure.
I love the well-tended. That was another one of those banger lines.
It was.
I thought that was so good.
He comes out of the bathroom and she's just gone.
The bathroom scene cracked me up. Just that kid in there smoking a fat doobie.
The lawyer walks in there, is like,
and then looks at him 3 or 4 times, and the whole time the kid's just like, "What?
It's Florida, man."
Yeah, like
oral sex may be illegal, but no one cares about smoking doobies.
Absolutely not. And I take this through him looking for her where she lives and meeting her in the bar. Because that's also another one of those bangers. Maybe you shouldn't dress like that. And she's like, dress like what? It's a blouse and a skirt. Maybe you shouldn't wear that body. And I was like, oh my God.
That had toxic masculinity written all fucking over it.
It did at first, and then he goes, maybe you shouldn't wear that body. And I was like, you just saved that whole pickup line. That was a fucking banger I've ever heard of.
I was very nervous about that until that line.
Yes.
Because it was like, oh no, don't do it.
Yeah.
And then he made that line. It was like, whew.
Okay, instead of wow or anything like that, can you just go, whoa? And I'm watching this with Nema, and he goes, you shouldn't wear that body. And out loud, I go, whoa. Like, oh my God. And I end it with, you should leave first, da-da-da. We've been pretty friendly. I don't think it matters. And she just slaps the fucking shit out of him. That's where I end it, at the slap. Not her walking away, not him leaving. The slap's where the scene ends.
That was a sexy fucking slap.
Yeah, it was good.
I would have to say mine is the sexual tension buildup leading into the first sex scene where he just breaks the fucking window.
speaking of my number 2 scene being toxic masculinity, I was like, he is literally going to sexually assault and rape this woman. And then the way she embraces him, she was just dripping between her legs.
And I think she even said, do it or go for it or something.
Something to
that effect that made it not rapey.
Yeah. And I was like, but even before that, the way she embraced him and whatnot, I was like, oh my God, this bitch is horny as fuck right now.
But the sexual tension leading up to that is what made that.
Yes. Was that your number 1 scene?
That was my number 1 scene. Wind chimes and all.
That's a good scene. I didn't even think about putting that in my Mount Rushmore, but that's good.
Because, you need the build up to get that scene.
Yeah.
So it's...
And without my number 2, you don't have that number 1.
Yeah, that's... Exactly.
That worked out really well. Just for our listeners, that was not planned.
So, you haven't done the Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal yet?
Yep, this is my number 1 scene. I lie, cheat, and steal.
Viva la raza.
Every scene that involves William Hurt's friends.
Oh, so Ted Danson and the detective?
Yes. Every scene's great. We get the diner scene where the detective is just talking about how the heat in Florida makes people do dumb shit, and eventually people are going to start killing each other and things are going to get busy. I'm like, all right, we know how much I love foreshadowing. There we go. And then Ted Danson just ordering 2 teas, and he's so funny. He's so good.
And waitresses are great.
And then in Ned's apartment when they're just already there, after when he was like, I'm actually going over there tonight. She asked me to come over. So
your dick's gonna get you in a heap of trouble one of these days.
Yep, and that's when
that was a very racist impression. I would like to apologize for that. He did not talk like that.
He did not. But that was the scene where his detective friend was like, maybe this dude did something. And you felt that in that scene. You felt that intensity a little bit.
He didn't want to admit it, but he knew it in that moment.
Yes, and I think William Hurt's too dumb in this movie to realize that his friend realized that in that moment. In the police station.
Mm-hmm.
Just in talking about everything. And this isn't part of my scene, but this is one of my favorite moments of the movie where he's like, no, I'll walk out this door. And then he walks right to Aunt Rox and then bends down and says hi to the little girl.
Well, that might have been like the moment I was on the edge of my seat most.
That was
because I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
That was the most tense scene for me. And then to end that scene with Ted Danson talking about, you want to know what this little girl saw? She'd never seen a fucking dick before.
She'd never seen an angry one.
An angry one. There we go. You know whose dick we haven't seen?
Who?
Michael fucking Douglas. Because he won't show us his dick for $15 million.
William Hurt didn't make $15 million.
No, he did not. But if you watch some of the wide scenes, you actually see Kathleen Turner holding his cock when they're standing up in front of the window. She has openly said that turned her on.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And then, of course, the peer talk. Everything with Ted Danson and the detective.
All right.
Yeah. Every time they were on screen, this movie was at its best.
So the only thing I wanted to, and I mentioned it earlier, was the scene at the restaurant with William Hurt and Richard Crenna. That's the only really honorable mention I want to make there.
Okay. It was a good scene. And I thought they were going to get caught somehow.
Well, we made it through the scenes. Now let's have a discussion comparing this movie to Basic Instinct.
You can't compare them.
Yeah, this is a better film.
No, Basic Instinct is better.
Sharon Stone is better.
The story in Basic Instinct is better.
Basic Instinct is not better. She's writing a book.
And killing people the way she wrote them in her book. That's fucking awesome.
Whatever.
The first scene, we watch her stab someone in the eye. And repeatedly stab them. After writing that fucking cock.
Yeah, Sharon Stone's better. I am fully willing to admit that.
But that's
The
such an
story's
integral
not
part of
better.
the story. Yeah, yes, it is.
It's not.
Because she's so much smarter than everybody else. And Kathleen Turner is in this movie too. But I bought it more from Sharon Stone.
Yeah, Kathleen Turner was smart enough she didn't have to fucking murder people.
But she did murder people.
Oh, that's true.
Sharon Stone got off on murdering people. Kathleen Turner didn't, which also makes it better. The female villain gets off on what they're doing.
This movie shot in a way cooler way. I think it's better acted, especially the supporting parts. And William Hurt, it just wipes the floor with Michael Douglas.
Unfortunately, I agree with all of those things that you just said, but Basic Instinct is still better. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole time in this
movie. I was never bored.
There were more moments in Basic Instinct where I was like, okay, this is just kind of happening. Let me sit back. I could not sit back during this movie.
I don't think so. And I've only seen Basic Instinct once. So maybe it deserves a rewatch. But I didn't feel like that at any point watching Basic Instinct from what I remember. But yeah, William Hurt's way better than Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, William Hurt would have showed his dick.
Oh, 100%. If Kathleen Turner showed her cooter, William Hurt would have whipped it out.
100% he would have. So that needs to be said.
I just thought this movie had a way cooler feel to it.
So just because we're in the movie-related talk, for our listeners that might not know what film noir is, can you educate them?
So film noir is basically... So in most films, you have good guys, bad guys. Good guys win. Film noir, one of the tenets of it, is everybody's kind of bad. No one's really good. You're not really rooting for anybody. They're generally seedier. They're darker. They're sexier. And like I said, they're not really about anything. They just are. There's probably a better definition out there. That was on the top of my head.
Well, and
I hope that helps some of you.
Film noir also alludes to other movies.
Yeah, kind of like how Kung Fu does.
Yeah, like it's also a homage kind of movie.
Yeah, where it kind of tips its hat to the ones that preceded it.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing you missed out of film noir.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm sure there's better definitions out there, but
yeah,
I love them because I don't need superhero versus bad guy. I'm rooting for this guy and I need him to win. I'm really cool because much like life, there's a lot of shitty people, and shitty people win quite often in life.
Yep, they sure fucking do.
Art imitates life.
That's right. So basically, the main thing you need to take away from this movie-related talk this week is Basic Instinct is a better erotic thriller than Body Heat.
It's not.
I sound more convincing, though, don't I?
You just said it louder.
Yeah, more convincing.
Yeah, your problem is like, I was bored. I'm like, it's got the score, it's got the chemistry, it's got the acting, it's got the feel, it's dark, it's seedy. And you're like, I'm bored.
I shouldn't be bored in a movie. I've watched dark, seedy movies. I wasn't bored. Like, the point of a movie is to not be bored. The point of a movie is to not check the time.
I was not bored at all. The only time I checked the time is when they murdered Richard Crenna, because I was like, this seems awfully early in this movie to do that.
And then you saw the time and you're like, it is early.
Yeah. Because it was flying by.
It was not flying by. By the time they killed Richard Crenna, I was like, thank God. We're almost there.
Hater.
We're almost over the hill. I mean, I really hope that I'm not a hater. I hope you watch Double Attraction and it's so much better than this shit movie. So out of the three main ones, I like two of them.
Fatal Attraction is probably the best movie of the three.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a while, but from my memory, it's the best.
I really wanted to like this movie. Because Basic Instinct made me an instant fan of erotic thrillers. And this movie, no matter how much I hated it and thought it was garbage, has not changed my opinion about erotic thrillers. Because you've also made some pretty compelling points. But still hate the movie.
Okay.
But again, I want to reiterate, has not changed my opinion about erotic thrillers. I'm still down. We can still watch them. I still love them. I think they're great.
Let's break down the characters in the movie. Seedy lawyer Ned Racine, played by William Hurt. You said that you liked him.
Yeah.
Anything specific that stands out?
His mustache and just his general, how he carries himself.
He carries himself like a shitty lawyer.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the middle of watching Better Call Saul right now. And Saul Goodman's a shitty lawyer.
Oh, there's a world where these two are related.
100%.
No doubt.
Like you said, you don't know exactly how you carry yourself as a shitty lawyer, but there's something. And I've been watching it in Better Call Saul.
Saul Goodman may be Ned Racine's nephew or something.
Yeah.
Who started by working with Ned.
Yeah. I can see that. Kathleen Turner, what do you got to say?
She's a seductress. She never lays off the sexual tension in this movie. She's going full sexual tension the whole movie.
Yeah.
I already mentioned it's 2023. You got to have an ass if you want to be a sex symbol. It doesn't have to be incredible, but it's got to be better than that.
But, yeah, I mean, apparently you didn't need an ass in 81.
You did not.
So, worked for her then.
It did, and, she basically got famous from this movie.
I'm pretty sure you told me the story of Kathleen Turner is actually kind of sad because of the toxic masculinity that was rampant in the 80s.
Yeah, and she's...
Because I don't know anything about Kathleen Turner.
She's like a big women's rights activist now, and she's not quite as fit as she was in this movie.
And people probably shit on her for that, don't they?
Of course.
Of course they do.
Of course they do.
For, like, when Adele got bit, everyone's like, well, she might be a good singer, but bitch is fat. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Especially Kathleen Turner's 60. Let her be fucking fat at 60.
Yeah, whatever.
Fuck out of here.
Let people be fat if they're fat. Just in general. Like, whatever. You can talk to them about health if you want to, but the fat shame, not cool. Richard Crenna.
He was essentially just a plot device in this movie.
I thought Richard Crenna was just... I mean, I've only seen Richard Crenna in the Rambo movies, and as of now, Richard Crenna plays the same person.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it
doesn't really change much.
He was just Richard Crenna with the same glasses he wore in Rambo 2.
Yeah, that's what he is, and he did what he had to do in this movie. Yeah. But he was in it for 2 scenes.
Yeah.
What do you want?
He was good while he was in it, though. Ted Danson. In my opinion, the best part of this movie.
It's so obvious he's a star in this movie, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is Kathleen Turner's film debut. Did you know that?
I did not. I knew this movie made her famous. I didn't know it was her debut.
It was her film debut. Good for her. In a way, with what you just said. But yeah, Ted Danson, immediate star.
It's so obvious. I'm always curious on movies like this. Had I seen it before I knew who that was, would I have thought that? And I think in this performance, I absolutely would have thought that.
I think so too. Like I said, to me, he's the most redeeming quality of this movie.
He's the best part of it. He might be the only person in the movie that's halfway decent. Him and the detective.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just a horrible human being.
Speaking of the detective, we don't have him written down as character breakdown, but we'll touch on him real quick.
I thought he was great portraying that when you're pretty sure your friend's guilty, but you don't want to admit it yet.
Yeah.
That was essentially his job in the movie, was to portray that.
And he was very convincing in it. Very good. Mickey Rourke, baby.
Why is Mickey Rourke only in this movie for 2 scenes that last a combined 4 minutes?
Yeah. A fucking shame. A fucking shame.
And also, Mickey Rourke is better looking than William Hurt in this movie. I don't know what you're talking about, even if you're eliminating Kathleen Turner.
I still think William Hurt's better looking.
Okay.
Maybe it's because 1981 Mickey Rourke kind of looks like my shitty stepdad.
Did your shitty stepdad have earrings?
Yep. He sure fucking did.
I can't top that. Let's move on. You got trivia for us?
I got so much trivia.
Let's do it. I'm so excited because I thought to myself, this movie has got to have great trivia.
And you weren't wrong. So I'm going to start with an utter banger. This is going to be the best trivia we have the whole segment. And I have quite a bit.
Come out swinging. Let's go.
William Hurt and Kathleen Turner wanted the crew to feel comfortable filming their love scenes. So they lined up the crew, and both actors introduced themselves to each crew member. When they did this, both stars were buck-ass naked.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
I guarantee you, the moment a sex scene got done, Michael Douglas put something on. Because he will not show us his dick.
No, there's no way he had the balls or dick to do this. Can you imagine if that was your first movie you've ever done? And you're a boom mic operator? And just
God.
William Hurt comes up to you, just fucking...
Just dick swinging.
11 inches, just hanging, just slapping the thigh.
Hi, my name's William Hurt. Don't make me hurt you with this.
Wow. That's got to go on the Trivia Rushmore for this podcast.
I think so.
Way to start it off.
Thank you. Most of the action at Maddie's house takes place in front of the double doors, which have double crosses on them, foreshadowing the plot.
Double cross.
And I'm a big fan of foreshadow.
I did not catch that. I was looking at other things.
Me too. Also, all our listeners, because we don't have video on, BJ just did the dumbest move for double cross. It was amazing in every sense of that word. This has kind of been touched upon throughout the pod, but the first of 3 historically significant but unrelated adult thriller movies in an unofficial Hollywood trilogy of erotic suspensors, each with a two-word title made within 6 years. The films are, in order, Body Heat, 1981, Fatal Attraction, 1987, and Basic Instinct, 1982. But don't forget Body Double.
From 1944?
I don't know. That's just what it says, BJ.
Okay.
I just read it.
Michael Douglas was in 2 of those 3 movies.
Is he in the Fatal Attraction?
He is.
Cool. I know he's not going to show us his dick in that movie, but I'm excited to see it. The picture was shot in freezing cold temperatures, which I haven't figured out where this is filmed, because it was filmed in Florida.
It's never freezing cold in Florida. Worst case scenario in Florida, you wake up at 6 in the morning and it's 45 degrees.
So I don't know where they shot this, because a lot of this says Florida, because I have this trivia throughout, but the picture was shot in freezing cold temperatures. The production had to simulate the heat wave of the film story. The actors had to act hot in colder conditions. For example, the thespians had to suck ice cubes before speaking to eliminate foggy breath, and had water sprayed on their skin and shirts to simulate body sweat. Kim Zimmer's memoir disputes this. She remembers shooting in blazing heat.
Oh, okay.
Literally have no idea where they shot this movie.
Freezing cold temperatures in Florida doesn't happen.
Just wait until I have more location stuff. Okay. Maddie Walker's character was modeled on film noir legend Lauren Bacall. Kathleen Turner was cast in the role due to her similarities to Bacall, including a distinctive husky voice and distinguishably long, shapely legs.
Do you want to see images of Lauren Bacall?
Yeah. Yeah, I see the similarities. For a black and white picture, she's really pretty. Ted Danson's mother went to see the film and walked out due to the picture's prerogative sexuality. According to the documentary on the film's DVD, she never told him this and pretended for many years that she had seen the movie, which she hadn't.
My mom would do that.
Yeah, she would.
My mom would 100% do that.
Which she hadn't until it was revealed to him many years later.
Which is going to be really awkward when we win our podcast award. Because I ever said, if I ever win an award and give a speech, the first person I'm going to thank is the person that went on Wikipedia and said that the average male penis is 4.5 inches long.
Your mom did that for you? Oh man, that's on the Mount Rushmore of jokes for the pod.
That's a 10 out of 10.
Christopher Reeve was offered the lead but turned it down after saying, "I don't think I would be convincing as a seedy lawyer." And he's probably right.
Yeah, because he was Superman at this point.
Yeah. Kathleen Turner's next film, The Man with Two Brains, was a spoof of a femme fatale character she played in this film. Director Lawrence Kasdan wanted unknowns to star in the film so there would be a sense of discovery as if they were real.
Yeah, because that's the weird thing is we know these people now.
Well, see, I didn't know anybody but Ted Danson. Even William Hurt, I've seen him in probably 4 or 5 films, but the only one that I can straight up say I know him from, like even his character, is Lost in Space with Gary Oldman.
Yeah, William Hurt, because he was prematurely balding, went into the kind of old hard at, basically became Richard Crenna.
Yeah.
Real quick in his career.
Yeah. When Kathleen Turner did her second reading for writer-director Lawrence Kasdan, he said that it was the first time that someone had read the part of Maddie Walker that sounded exactly the way he had heard it in his head when he wrote the script. In an article in Photoplay magazine published in April of 1982, it stated that the scream test was too good to ignore, and Kathleen conceded exactly with director Lawrence Kasdan's idea of Maddie.
Her voice might be the sexiest part of her character. That voice just gets me going.
I agree. Directorial debut of Lawrence Kasdan. Prior to this film, Kasdan had written Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
The best Star Wars.
The best Star Wars.
Yep.
And Indiana Jones, The Raiders of the Lost Ark for George Lucas. And was in the process of writing Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Lucas returned the favor by serving as Kasdan's sponsor for the Ladd Company studio, as well as acting as an uncredited executive producer on this film.
So Kasdan wrote 2 of the best 20 movies of all time and wrote and directed this top 100 movie of all time?
Yep. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You just admitted it was a top 100 movie of all time.
Because I can't not admit it. It's in fucking print.
But both Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark are...
I'm not even going to argue.
They're in the top 20, 25 of all time.
Sure.
No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, Empire Strikes Back might be top 10.
And this is from 2 non-Star Wars fans. That movie is that good.
Yeah. Lawyer Peter Lowston, who's Ted Danson, states that oral sex is not illegal in Florida. However, Florida Statute 800.02 made unnatural and lascivious acts, which include oral genital contact, a misdemeanor. In 2003, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down all sodomy laws. So
it took till 2003?
2003, bro. So
my God.
It was still illegal in Florida in 81.
That sounds like Florida. The place where school shootings happen.
Yeah, the only place in the U.S. It happens nowhere else. School shootings exclusively in Florida.
Fair.
That's not true. Everyone listening to this outside the U.S. We've already had 39 this year, and that was a week ago.
Hang on. Alex Jones just came in the door.
Hey,
Sandy Hook was set up. How can you not see that?
You can't say that. You just
I'm a man.
You just paid a lot of people a lot of money.
All right, fine. I guess I'll leave now. But don't forget, Sandy Hook was an inside job. Thanks, Alex.
Jeez. Writer-director Lawrence Kasdan wanted this film to have an intricate structure of a dream, the density of a good novel, and the texture of recognizable people in extraordinary circumstances. Favorite film noir movies of the pictures Lawrence Kasdan include Double Indemnity of 1944, The Asphalt Jungle 1950, and Out of the Past 1947. I want to watch The Asphalt Jungle because I think asphalt's a cool word.
You think there were porns that was The Asphalt Jungle? And what was the last one you read?
Out of the Past.
Oh, and Out of the Ass?
For sure.
Those two definitely exist.
For sure. In New York, doing Anton Chekhov's The Seagull on stage, Kathleen Turner was turned down for an audition for this film because she had no film credits. She has since said, quote, "All I knew was that the role Maddie Walker was the best part written for a woman in so many years. I tried to get an audition, but I had no film experience and was unable to get one." Quote. About 4 months later, Turner was in Los Angeles pursuing a part in another picture when the part still not cast, she was granted an audition. She said, quote, "They gave me a copy of the script and I immediately wanted it. After that reading, they set up a screen test with William Hurt. I'd never tested for a film before, and it was pretty scary. Walking into a studio, having makeup men and everybody turn you into their idea of what Maddie should be."
All right. And go, Kathleen Turner.
Right. In May 2008, the film's two leads ranked as number 6 on Movie Phone's top 25 sexiest movie couples list.
I'd like to know the top 5 at some point.
The Ladd Company head Alan Ladd Jr. didn't like the mustache on William Hurt, feeling that it looked sleazy and wanted it removed.
That's the whole point, is it looks sleazy.
Correct. Despite getting his big directorial break from Ladd.
Dictorial.
Yeah. The director refused to do this, as he fucking should have. The film was largely influenced by Double Indemnity, one of Lawrence Kasdan's favorite movies. Richard Crenna appeared in the remake of Double Indemnity in 1973.
I thought it was Double Identity.
Indemnity. Indemtidi.
Okay.
But Richard Crenna appeared in the remake in 1973 as Walter Neef, the man lured into murdering his lover's husband. In this film, he plays the doomed husband. One of the film's main movie posters featured a long text preamble that read, quote, "It's a hot summer. Ned Racine is waiting for something special to happen. And when it does, he won't be ready for the consequences. Body heat. As the temperature rises, the suspense begins."
Way too many words for a movie poster.
I agree.
Way too many.
You'll enjoy this. Jeff Goldblum was considered for the role of Peter Lowenstein, Ted Danson's character.
I could not help thinking about Jeff Goldblum.
He later worked with Laura Kasdan on The Big Chill and Silverado in 1983 and 1985.
When's the Big Chill podcast?
Whenever it needs to be. We're a big Jeff Goldblum. We're pro Jeff Goldblum here.
Oh, yeah.
The film's final scene was filmed at Tunnels Beach on the island of Kauai.
Oh no, I've got to go to Hawaii to film a scene.
Also,
woe is me.
Also, not cold there.
No.
Lawrence Kasdan wanted a woman editor so as to have a female perspective on the erotic sensuality that the movie contained. He hired Carol Littleton, who has edited many of Kasdan's films ever since.
I feel like women would make better editors than men.
I do too.
Isn't Scorsese's editor of choice a woman too?
I have no idea.
Okay, I think it is.
I cannot comment on that. In the deluxe edition DVD Extras of Body Heat, Ted Danson tells a story about how just before shooting, William Hurt came up to him and asked, "Do you trust me?" And then proceeded to grab Danson by the balls and ask him again, "Do you trust me?" In 2008, the National Enquirer reported how Hurt apparently recounted and demonstrated the same story on a customer while at a tavern in New York City.
I'm going to take a quote from the famous movie Office Space. "I believe something like that, get your ass kicked."
100%. Go anywhere near my balls, and I'm kicking your ass. I mean, you know.
Depending on your...
Duh.
Yeah.
The film's composer, John Barry, has described its main theme.
You've been kicked out of many strip clubs for punching strippers in the face.
He's described its main theme as being a jazz ballad plus a piano figure with strident chords and strings. I put that in there for you because you liked it.
The score is incredible.
When classified by the Australian Centre for Theatre as videotape during the early 1980s, the film picture garnered an M rating both times, suitable for persons 15 years and older. Years later, when classified for DVD in that country in the late 90s and 2000s, the film garnered the higher MA 15 plus rating, again both times, which restricts audiences to 15 years and older. After a period of 30 years, it is more likely for a film to be reclassified with a lower age restrictive rating. But in this instance, Down Under, as with Silence of the Lambs, the picture achieved the unusual feat of getting a higher age-restricted classification rating.
It's an R-rated movie.
They do different ratings in different countries. I'm just the main point of that.
I got you, but like I watched it and I was like, you know what? I'll show it to my kids at 15.
Sure. Bill Hurt's partner, Donna Kaz, reported being repeatedly physically abused by Hurt while the film was being made, visiting the ER only once.
I'm sorry, what? William Hurt beat his wife while making this movie?
Yep. According to her.
I'm going to take a step back now.
Yeah. He really wanted to fuck Kathleen Turner, like you said.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind he wanted to fuck Kathleen Turner the entire time.
So, William Hurt plays rancy, promiscuous lawyer Ned Racine, who beds at least 3 women. In The Big Chill, the next film Hurt made with Lawrence Kasdan, he played a character who's impotent.
I don't think I've ever heard a character described as impotent.
You have now.
Okay.
In the scene in which William Hurt and Kathleen Turner are standing by a window looking out of it, the edited show them in a medium shot from the waist up. But the wider shot shows clearly the actress holding the actor's penis. Later, Turner admitted in a Playboy interview that she was very turned on by all those scenes with Hurt.
Oh, Kathleen Turner, you dirty girl.
She wanted to fuck William Hurt as bad as he wanted to fuck her. According to Hollywell's Film Guide, the movie was an uncredited revamp of Double Indemnity, while the Virgin Film Guide said the movie incorporates a plot reminiscent of Double Indemnity. The Thriller Film Guide said that the plot, although not credited as such, is a virtual reworking of Double Indemnity. Like, wow.
Is making a remake 40 years later frowned upon?
It shouldn't be.
So if we made, whatever, Florida Shithole and made this same movie, would people be, oh, you're just stealing from Body Heat?
Probably.
Dibs on playing William Hurt.
Dibs on playing Ted Danson.
This is a totally different movie now.
While developing and making this picture, Lawrence Kasdan did not know whether he would ever get to make another movie.
That was the Michael Douglas thing in Basic Instinct, right?
Yeah. The silver gun that Richard Crenna has is a Colt Detective Special 38 caliber 3rd generation snub nose revolver for any of the gun fanatics out there. William Hurt also played a murderer with another Lawrence Kasdan favorite, Calvin Klein, in I Love You to Death. However, in I Love You to Death, Hurt was hilariously convincing turn as a long-haired, drug-addled hippie type with his cohort in attempted crime, Keanu Reeves. So I want to watch I Love You to Death.
Kevin Kline and Keanu Reeves?
William Hurt and Keanu Reeves. And William Hurt plays a long-haired, drug-addled hippie type. Like, he's already balding in this movie.
Yeah.
The film screenplay originally contained a failed first murder attempt. This sequence was actually shot, but was cut out because it was felt it slowed down the movie's pace. However, footage from this botched attack was merged with the film material from the successful kill to form the one successful job on the husband in the movie. If one looks closely, one can see the design on the bed sheets is different footage from the first crack use tighter shots so that this would not be noticed.
I don't hate this movie with a botched kill.
No, but it's already an hour.
I get it. It's an
48
hour
minutes.
it's a full hour 50.
It is not stated directly where Maddie is at the end of the film, but given that she's on a tropical beach and the man joins her speaks Portuguese, it's safe to assume she's in Brazil.
Or Portugal.
Yep. But does Portugal have mountains like that in the background on the beach?
I don't know about on the beach.
At the end of the movie, Maddie Walker is on Sugar Beach in St. Lucia, as evidenced by one of the Grand Pitons in the distance. Again, where was this fucking movie filmed?
So she got to go to St. Lucas and fucking Hawaii to shoot this movie?
And maybe Brazil.
Well, no. That's where it was supposed to be. But it was actually shot in...
Was it?
St.
Do you know that for sure now?
I don't know.
Final scene of Maddie on the beach was filmed at Tunnel Beach, Hanakoa, Hawaii. We don't know where it was filmed. The text of the letter that Ned received with the yearbook read, Mr. Racine, prisoner number, Florida State Penitentiary, Tallahassee, Florida. Dear Mr. Racine, here is the Wheaton cougar you asked to see. We were very intrigued by your most unusual request. Many former graduates have requested to look at our old yearbooks, but yours was our first correspondence from a state penitentiary. We hope that you will respect our desire to have the book returned at the soonest possible time. Good luck in your rehabilitation. I hope this satisfies your curiosity about your departed cousin. Very truly yours, David Morris, Assistant Principal, Wheaton High School.
Nice.
So now everybody knows. That's my trivia.
You ready for impersonation time?
I guess so. What is the impersonation for this movie?
Your best 1981 Mickey Rourke.
Okay. You're going to have to go first because I don't know.
So he's Mickey Rourke. He's kind of like the Fonz, but he's from New York, and he's the bomb. He builds the bombs. He is the bomb. And in like 30 years, I'm going to do a bunch of steroids and fuck Marissa Tomei in a movie. Okay? And then I'm going to do some shitty Iron Man fucking movie. Well, I'm Russian for some fucking reason. But I'm still on steroids because I'm fucking Mickey Rourke.
Okay. And now I'm Mickey Rourke. And my best movie, I'm done there. That was bad.
Was that British Christopher Walken?
I don't know what that was, but wow.
You got another one you want to do from this movie? I'll give you a second shot.
No, this movie was tough for me. I didn't know how you were going to do this, so I'm good with my attempt.
I'm Kathleen Turner. Listen to how sexy my voice is.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do that one?
I don't know why you thought your voice would be sexy if you just quieted and went deep. Does it work on Rania?
Never tried it.
Don't. All right, final thoughts on the movie.
This movie is film noir done really, really well. It's slick, it's cool, it's sexy, it's sweaty, it's seedy, it's suspenseful. This movie is an 8.7, and it's great.
Wow. So, this movie sucks.
It does not suck.
This movie fucking sucks. You've been waiting for this whole time to hear me spout off like a
I expect you to be like,
8.
hey, this was just a joke. This movie's actually a 9.8. It's wonderful.
No, that's not happening with this movie. I hated this movie. You have convinced me on a couple things, so my initial score was a 4.1. I'm going to go up a whole point to 5.1.
Okay, all right. So it's better than Batman and Robin.
Yeah. And Mistletoe Farm.
Okay.
It's right there with Tomb Raider.
No one has ever compared this movie to Tomb Raider.
They have fucking now. Should they remake this? Yes, I want erotic thrillers. I think there's a really good movie here. Fix the pacing and fix a couple other things. I don't really know what. I'm not in movies.
I would love to see an erotic thriller. I don't know why they haven't made one. I mean, if you make one right now, I'm at the theater. I hardly go to the theater anymore. If you make an erotic thriller that comes out in 2024, I'm there.
Okay. BJ,
Yes, sir.
I'm fairly confident that our editor, my brother-in-law, has gifted us with the pessimistic producer's review.
He has.
Because I told him yesterday we needed one.
Body Heat. This erotic thriller did very little to thrill me. I admire the cinematography, and the soundtrack was well paired with the scenery and the mood of the film. The supporting cast of Ted Danson and Mickey Rourke were phenomenal. They were charming and very easy to connect with as characters. That's where I end what I enjoyed about this movie. The two leads had very little chemistry, and instead of the sex being an addition to their character development, it itself felt as if they were attempting a soft porn film for a late-night HBO audience rather than a legitimate film.
First off, soft porn films are way better than the sex scenes in this movie.
Yeah, no.
And I used to watch them at my grandparents' house late at night with the static shit, you know?
The sex scenes are better. The sex scenes are pretty subdued in this movie.
I agree.
They're very short. Like, they get the point across, but they're very short and don't show a whole lot.
Yeah.
The leads accomplished being attractive, and that's about it, which is a shame from two very talented actors. I saw every twist and turn in this movie had to offer by the end of the opening credits. This movie had nothing to offer, not even satisfactory amount of nudity. Giving the cinematography, composition, and stellar supporting cast, I will give this film 3 wind chimes out of 10. That's an awful lot to like for a 3 out of 10 film.
I agree. I think at least should be where I put it.
Yeah.
I think me and Tristan feel the same way about this movie.
He's just more pessimistic than you.
Yeah. But I think his rating should be more like a 5.
Yeah, if you like the cinematography, if you like the score, if you like what the supporting actors are doing, and you kind of like the overall feel of the movie, that seems to be at least an average movie. Also,
as an inside joke between me and you, what do you think Tristan's IQ is to know every twist and turn of this movie?
I didn't know. I mean, like, I
didn't know one twist and turn in this movie.
I knew a double cross was coming.
Sure.
Fair.
So he's got to have like 160 IQ to know every twist and turn in this movie, right?
I like I said, I knew there was going to be a twist. I knew she was going to screw him over.
But that's not what he said.
But I had no idea how.
He said he knew every one. Fuck him.
I knew Richard Crenna was going to have a gun stored away somewhere.
Yeah, I knew that Kathleen Turner was going to steal all the money and go to Brazil. Shut up. Good and bad reviews from IMDb.
Well, you told me we needed a Tristan review because these are, let's say, lacking.
Yeah, they're not good. You would have thought with the movie this bad, they would have been great.
Oh, either whether you loved it or hated, I figured there would have been some like old ladies preaching from the pulpit about how the nudity sucked.
I think the problem is with this movie being on top 1,001 movies you should see before you die. I've heard of Fatal Attraction. I've heard of Basic Instinct before I ever saw them. And I haven't seen Fatal Attraction. I've never heard of this movie.
Okay. Never heard Body Heat.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with the lack of reviews. It's not a very well-known movie.
98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
At least for the people that write reviews. Because people of the older generation I've talked to about this movie since I've seen it, everybody knows it.
And speaking of reviews, you told me the problem is that like 80% of the reviews were just summarizing the movie.
Yeah.
That's not a fucking review, people.
No.
Don't leave a summary of the movie as a review.
Yeah, that's on the first page of IMDb under summary. So the first review is my good one, 10 out of 10, or in this case, off Amazon, 5 out of 5. I'm only going to read the first couple sentences. It's a 3-paragraph review. Only the first couple sentences matter.
Okay.
Titled, A Fine Sexual Thriller. A few weeks ago, I said to my good A few weeks ago, I said to a good friend of mine, quote, "The film shows you how weak men are." My friend, a lady, said, quote, "I don't need a film to tell me that." We both laughed.
You're right. I don't care about the rest of the review. It's golden. Move on. Move on. I don't need a movie to tell me that.
So I have 3 bad reviews. And I'm going to start off with the first one-liner we've had in quite some time.
We like one-liners.
We love one-liners. Titled, Predictable, 4 out of 10. Dumb man, hot woman, ... Worth a watch, but you will not be blown away.
That's a weird bad review. Like, he's like, you should watch it.
Yeah. 4 out of 10. Watch this movie.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right. So 2 out of 5 stars from Amazon. You've got to be civilized video games kidding.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. Director Lawrence Kasdan, for some reason, insisted the entire cast and crew of Body and Heat were Republican for some reasons unknown. ...
Is that true? I'm like 90% sure Ted Danson's a lefty. And I remember something about Kathleen Turner talking about how creepy Trump was in the 80s. Am I making that up?
You're not making those up, because I looked this up, and you're right on both accounts.
Okay.
I think this guy just didn't do any research at all. He watched this movie in 2017. Trump had just been elected in 2016, and he just assumed everybody was MAGA.
Oh, he was that
Libtard.
Yeah.
Whoa, we can't say that anymore.
Snowflake lib.
Snowflake lib. That's the term. Snowflake lib. And as 2 libs, those exist. Like I don't know why every conservative I meet thinks every liberal's a snowflake.
No, because
I own a gun. It's upstairs right now.
Yeah, I'm liberal. I'll kick your fucking ass if you're being a fascist.
Yes, 100%. It's always okay to brick a fascist. In fact, the only reason World War II happened is because people didn't think it was okay to brick a fascist.
Yeah. Could have saved us so many lives if people would have just bricked fascist earlier.
Yep. My last one. And the last 3 words are going to tell you why I had to end it with this one. 1 out of 10, titled Awful. This is awful. It is not scary.
Whoa. Did you say this is not scary?
Yeah.
Did he think this was a horror film?
So what I think is he saw the word thriller.
Okay.
Because this review also came out in 2020.
You thought Body Heat was a horror movie, huh?
Probably because you're going to melt bodies.
Ah.
Yeah, and the word thriller. But again, if you're making a movie about melting bodies, it's not a thriller. It's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Wasn't there something like Bodies with Rob Zombie? Or am I thinking Let the Bodies Hit the Floor?
You're thinking Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, but Rob Zombie did have a movie called House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay. Because I was thinking like somebody recommended a movie that was something Bodies or Bodies something.
I don't think
that was a horror movie, and he watched Body Heat and was like, this isn't scary at all.
I think he just saw the word thriller.
Okay.
This is awful. It is not scary at all. It is badly written. It has an awful ending. It is just awful. Why does this have a 7.4? It is just awful. This is not a good movie at all. It is stinky, stinky poo-poo.
Did you write this review?
No. But I did pick it because it's stinky, stinky poo-poo.
You know what? That guy's welcome on the podcast.
Yeah.
He called a movie Stinky, Stinky Poo-Poo.
And I'm pretty sure he used his real name. Jacob John Taylor 121. You're welcome anytime, my friend.
Stinky, Stinky Poop. Not scary at all. Yeah, no shit. I hated Anchorman. There was no horror elements in it.
Duh. All right, question of the pod. Should people watch
Yes.
this movie before it? God damn it! The answer is no. Don't waste your time.
Watch it. It's on the 1001 movies you must see before you die.
They're fucking wrong.
They're never wrong.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Hope you enjoyed this podcast.
We will do a rom-com very soon. It's been quite a long time for a good rom-com on this pod.
Hope you enjoyed your oral to genital Valentine's Day. You want to do a rom-com next week?
I don't know, maybe. But yeah, sit on your partner's face. like get on your knees. Do what you need to do. It's fucking Valentine's Day. And both of y'all do it.
And remember, oral to genital contact is no longer illegal anywhere in the United States.
But with this Supreme Court, get it in now.
That's it. Bye.
Bye.